Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. We have MaxPax and Spirit going up against Clem and Trigger in a best of 5. This is indeed the February edition of the 2v2 uThermal circuit, and this is the grand finals. It's a repeat. It's a runback. And in the January edition, we saw this final happen between Clem, Trigger, and their opponents, MaxPax Spirit. And MaxPax and Spirit eked it out 3-2 in that January edition. So now that we have the repeat of these two, well, how do you say, teams that always play together, pre-mates, maybe? Ooh, Spirit going for a proxy barracks here. Has one at home as well. And Undercurrent does have a pretty small ramp to the mains, so you can actually hide the barracks, which is pretty cool. Now Clem doing no such thing. And as you can see, MaxPax, not really getting the best scouting out. We see the trigger gas to give Clem a little bit extra minerals, get that CC out. It's a classic by now. Let's see what Spirit has planned. He starts the first Reaper at home. Probably going to be starting a second Reaper on the map here. Yes, he does. Seems to be somewhat of a TVT opener here from Spirit, trying to get an early advantage for himself and MaxPax. And let's see if MaxPax is going to go for the Phoenix opener here. Is going to get the back base. So is Trigger. Now, Clem and Trigger more keen and likely to just both make an army, get some Blink Stalkers, get some bio. And MaxPax Spirit definitely more likely to get MaxPax up to those air units, where Spirit does a little bit more of an aggressive / defensive build. More unit-focused, less economy-focused. I think is a good way to describe that. Oh, the two Reapers get onto this SCV, Bacon, the bunker. The Reaper already getting hit a lot there. There is one Stalker here from Trigger. And these Reapers from Spirit have to get out of there. We see one more Reaper underway in the middle of the map. And, ooh, there's already 3, so it's going to be 4 in total. A Stalker from MaxPax is joining them, and Adept is done as well. And Stargate's almost ready here. The bunker for Clem is ready, though. Nicely positioned to cover both ramps. Oh, but 4 Reapers try to get in there. All the bombs hit the Trigger Stalker, and that's a lot of damage. And that Stalker's completely dead, annihilated, gone. Oh, these Stalkers. Oh, get nice clicks on that Reaper. One of them does go down. Some revenge for their fallen brethren. And the Adept plus Stalker combo just dives into the natural here. MaxPax is going to lose these units, but he's going to get a couple SCV kills in return. Let's see how many SCVs did die. 4 SCVs and a probe died for 1 Reaper, 1 Adept, 1 Stalker. And I guess they also got a Stalker in return. So MaxPax and Spirit going for some economic damage here. And we see MaxPax starting up the Phoenix. He does have this Oracle once again with the extra energy. The Kadarian Amulet has been put onto the Nexus. Instead of having to research it for your High Templar, you just get it for all of your energy units. And let's see if this Oracle can get a lot of damage. Goes for the SCVs, actually goes for the Weakened Mule, does get it. And now goes for an SCV, 2 kills on the Oracle. Little surprised that MaxPax did not go to the Protoss side of things. I guess he knew there was a battery. Because if he knows that there's no battery, then you can 2-shot probes with an Oracle. But SCVs are 3-shot with the Oracle. Nice bombs from Spirit. Rocks up some of the Clem units there. The Reaper does go down. This car is gonna get away, but the Oracle is still following it. I guess it might not get away, actually. Hellion just buying time. And it does go down. Do have a Cyclone now in a 3rd base for Clem coming up. It's a little later than usual. We see Banshee with Cloak coming up for Clem. MaxPax going for a third base. The Trigger's third base is already halfway done. 4 kills on this Oracle, but Stalkers are ready to intercept. We have Blink building. It is about halfway done. Spirit getting a bunker now as well. A little bit more forward to try and cover MaxPax's third base. And oh, this Phoenix is back home, but this Cloaked Banshee does still get a lot of kills. 5 kills there. Nice recall by MaxPax, getting his Oracle back. And 8 Phoenix are on the map. Well, this is 6 of them. They're gonna lift a probe, 2 probes. And there is a decent amount of Stalkers here for Trigger. So these Phoenix aren't going to completely destroy the economy of Trigger, and he has 3 bases filled to the brim with probes. MaxPax is falling behind a little bit in probe count. Trigger is 10 probes ahead. And the Terran players are pretty equal. CC from both players is coming out. Apparently Spirit had his a little earlier, both going for the golden base. Let's see if Clem is going to go for an orbital. Maybe goes for a planetary here. Expecting an orbital, but you never know. Another Stargate coming out for MaxPax. So 3 Stargate play. Let's see if he goes for the carriers or that he does want to go back for those Tempest Serenos. We see some lift-ups on the SCVs here, and 1 turret is just not going to stop all of these Phoenix. 12 Phoenix here just doing a lot of damage, killing some SCVs, even killing those 2 Stalkers. And indeed, Orbital coming up. 4th base for Trigger is underway. What is Trigger doing to make sure that he can help his ally? Well, he's getting Archons. He has a Templar Archives. We don't have Storm. He's getting charged now and a lot more Gateway. So he just wants to have a nice Gateway army, support the rest of the bio, get anchored by the tanks, and just do a push into these Phoenix. Nice tanks there from Spirit. Oh, the lift-ups on the Stalkers, making it very hard for them to retreat. That Archon does go down. And these Phoenix actually protecting the siege tanks. Pretty interesting, giving all that vision as well. Oh, the Stasis Ward gets a lot of the Marines. Now we see the upgrades for Clem almost finished up here. They're going to have a very small window where Spirit has better upgrades than Clem. More Phoenix are coming out. 16 Phoenix, 3 more coming out. Fleet Beacon almost done. But it's going to be a while until we have Tempest and or a carrier number that is respectable. These Archons are very annoying for these Phoenix, because as you can see, they like to clump up, but these Archons do nasty splash damage. Now MaxPax is getting a 4th of his own. Luckily for him, it wasn't built out here, because that would have been denied right away. And we just see more and more units trickling on in from Team Purple here. This Archon taking a lot of damage. But 3 tanks are pretty good at defending this location. Spirit tries to get his tanks forward, but the Clem tanks... Oh, this Archon tanks a crucial shot, and because of that, Clem seems to be taking this location. No, actually, the tanks do take out his opposing tanks. Liberator's coming out. I mean, I guess you have control over the air because you have all of these Phoenix, so the Liberators can actually start winning the Siege Tanks war. A lot of Marines are coming out with the tanks. Clem, his Marines are coming out as well. We see Tempest coming up, and these Marines just run in and overwhelm the position of Clem and Trigger. I'm kind of wondering, where were all of Trigger's Stalkers? Maybe I missed their demise somewhere. No, they are over here. Well, those could be newly warped in, honestly. And Tempest and Mothership are coming out here. Ooh, some Zealots, they charge, and now they have to run away. Spirit taking position on Clem's 3rd and 4th base. That is not a happy place to be. Clem and Trigger won this match in their previous encounter, but this is looking very good for MaxPax and Spirit. Spirit moving forward with the tanks. Nice leapfrog, and at the back, oh, these Zealots, nice flank. Get on top of all of the tanks. Trigger doing God's work here, but the Phoenix are on top of Clem's army, and it's just disappearing. And all of Clem's bases are also gone. And with that, Clem says, it's enough for me. G to the G. I'm out of here. Or is it? No, it's not a fake GG. Sometimes you GG, and then your teammate is like, oh, Yeah, I had like 6 Ultralisks stuck in my base, so I think we can keep fighting, bro. But with the Mothership Tempest Marine Tank Medevac composition and I guess a bunch of Phoenix, we saw MaxPax and Spirit hold on to their bases. I really like the push from Clem and Trigger. As soon as you set up here with the tanks, you can hit the golds, you can hit this low ground base. It's a nice position to take, but MaxPax and Spirit, they were able to buy enough time for Spirit to get a couple Liberators, get a big Marine army. His tanks were in a nice position, making it very hard for Clem and Trigger to do critical damage. And then the Tempest came out. The Marine number was high enough, and the collapse onto the Clem Trigger position was just pretty well executed by the red team. And they now will go up 1-0 in this best of 5. And for game number 2, we load up into Rohana, with MaxPax and Spirit taking the lead here 1-0 against Trigger and Clem. Now, in the previous finals, the January edition, they played on Rohana as well, and Clem and Trigger won on Rohana. So we already have Undercurrent won by the other team, as opposed to last series. So last time, Trigger, Clem won on Undercurrent and also on Rohana. But now MaxPax and Spirit are already up 1-0, so if they would win this game as well, that would be quite the statement. And perhaps would kind of be a prediction of a 3-0 if that were to happen. But that is long ways off. It's just one game in. Maybe they were just a little surprised. And maybe they could just turn it around. But it's going to be interesting to see what they are going to do, Trigger and Clem, against this Phoenix style from MaxPax Spirit. You kind of know they're going to do it. You know, you're not sure what Spirit's going to do, but you're pretty sure what MaxPax is going to do. And so what are Trigger and Clem going to do? We see double gateway here from Trigger, and it gets pinged out right away by MaxPax. He's like, ooh, okay, double gateway. Is going to go for core before Nexus. And we see Trigger double gas, 2 gateway, cyber core. So definitely a more proactive position. Clem builds his depot and locks in MaxPax's probe. Does show off the factory build with the double gas. But with the Reaper coming out pretty soon, probably going to get rid of this Reaper. Secure that Reaper kill. Spirit and MaxPax, though, both of them are expanding. Now, Rohana might have not shown it off, but you have separate mains. Well, they are pretty protected from any siege tank shenaniganry, which is good. We also have naturals that are shared without any, like, really good siege tank positions. Maybe you could argue that this is a decent position, but you have a shared choke, and then you have a shared high ground into the low ground middle of the map. Then you have a shared third base location. I guess you could go to the bottom as well, but it has an extra ramp. And then from these third bases, you could take the Zilnaga and then take the fourths here. Or you could decide to take the fourths closer to Spirit's main base, protect his, like, air vulnerability a bunch more. And then protect this ramp, protect this choke, and then go for fifth bases over there. But once you take the Zilnaga, you're already kind of looking at your opponent's either third or fourth, or could even be fifth. Ooh, Trigger gets on top of the Adept from MaxPax with his Adepts. And finds out about the Stargate as well, does he not? Yes, he does. He saw the Stargate. That is honestly quite crucial. No unit has been started by MaxPax, but here comes the Oracle. And this one Adept. Oh, does not have a shade, so it is going to go down here to the Marine of Spirit. And we do have 2 Hellions and 2 Reapers from Clem. So far, couple units lost on both sides. Ooh, the Hellions and the Reapers get by the bunker without really getting any damage onto them. Now they get into the natural, only one Stalker to stop them. An Oracle does join in to reinforce, but these SCVs from Spirit are just running away, trying not to die. They can't be healed by the shield battery. And Clem does end up losing his Hellion and Reaper, and in the end, we see one probe and 4 SCVs have died for this pretty committed aggression from Trigger and Clem? Trem? At the back of that, they do have their natural bases of their own. We see Blink coming out from Trigger. Nobody is surprised by that, or triggered, if you really want to... Oh. The Stalkers do get to do the Stalker dance. And some of the probes have been stasised up. So MaxPax not really doing any direct damage by killing probes, but still puts them into stasis, prevents some mining time, so still gets some economical damage done. Gets a nice scout here, even gets to see that there is a tank on the map already. And he only sees 2 barracks, okay. So that doesn't tell him too much, but we know it's 3 barracks, no starport. And he starts an engineering bay in the back. So this is going to be a pretty committed follow-up push, I think, when looking at this position from Trigger and Clem. Trigger, how many gateways do you have? 4 gateways. Blink is about to finish. And more Stalkers are being warped in. 8, 9, 10 Stalkers on the map. And let's see. Ooh, Spirit is nice. Is nicely in position out on the map. Trigger can just walk into this bio army. And immediate stim from Spirit coming out here. MaxPax is going to try and back him up. His Blink is nowhere near done, though. But a nice switch up from MaxPax there, being like, well, I'm not going to go Phoenix again if you see my star get this early. Oh, a nice Blink for it there by Trigger. But actually, the Blink forward just triggered the stasis trap. But he already was in range, so a lot of Stalkers here are in the stasis trap. There is another stasis ward that Trigger could perhaps trigger. Haha. If he sees it. Oh my god, they walk into it! Oh! They just force field themselves out, and this push all of the sudden is slowed down significantly. MaxPax. Oh, this tank from Clem really doing a nice job of anchoring this push. Even though half of the army is in stasis, they can still do a lot here. Oh, a nice Blink from Trigger, but it gets clicked down by the bio of Spirit. The second Stalker does trigger the stasis ward. But now, where are the tanks of Spirit? Where is the anchoring for the red team? It's just Team Purple that is just kind of rampaging across the map here. And just in a 1-2 punch swift sweep, just feather dustering all over their faces and just pushing them out of the game. I was not expecting them to just fall over and die, but I guess maybe MaxPax was being a little bit too greedy. We do see a bunch of Dark Templar being warped in. Hopefully, yes, they are going to run into their opponent's base and try and get some counter damage done, but Trigger and Clem are in the shared natural of Team Red, and they are going to lose all of their mining bases except for this one from MaxPax, who just recalled a bunch of probes. And a lot of SCVs from Spirit are also in the main, or the main of MaxPax. These DTs have to be doing a lot of damage. And they are trying to do some damage. 2 kills on this one. And he sees that there is detection. And his main base is also dead. So a GG comes out from MaxPax and Spirit. A little bit of a doozy. But it does bring us back to an even score, 1-1. Clem and Trigger turn up the aggression a little bit, and it worked like a charm. They just bust through Spirit and MaxPax. I felt like this was going to be a very nice, glorious defense by Spirit and MaxPax. Just waiting for the attack in the front, getting a nice trade, forcing them to consistently trade into stasis wards, slowing down the game by a lot, and then they just kind of ran out of steam. MaxPax didn't quite have enough production to really use that extra economy, and Spirit, I mean, I guess he just lost too many tanks. It wasn't able to really anchor the fight, didn't have like 5 bunkers, because I think they were all a little surprised that, oh, shit, a tank over here just destroys our position on the high ground, and all of a sudden we have to retreat. And then, well, dear Anakin, It's all over. And welcome to game number 3. It's Trigger and Clem, now Team Blue, going up against MaxPax and Spirit for all the marbles in the February edition of the uThermal 2v2 Cup. And on Emerald City, we are going to see who will go to match point and get close, or put themselves in a very good position to win this finals. Luckily, it's not a 3-0 blowout or a 2-0 lead. It's tense. Now let's see what Clem and Trigger are going to bring to the table. But more importantly, what are Spirit and MaxPax going to do here? They did switch colors, frustratingly. Because we've seen MaxPax favor the Stargate a lot. And he either goes into Blink after the Oracle, or goes into 2 Stargate Phoenix. Now, the 2 Stargate Phoenix still has a 100% win rate in this series, but it's kind of expected, right? I expect him to do it more often than not. So him going for Blink Stalkers is actually kind of a mix-up, which just didn't really work out, even though their opponents didn't really know it. They weren't privy to it. So, really interested to see what MaxPax and Spirit are going to bring here. Spirit not going to go for Proxy Rex like he did in Game 1. That was pretty cheeky. MaxPax gets a scout, sees that Clem has a CC first once again. I don't know. Giving your opponent or your teammate a gas to work with is pretty cool in my eyes. Now, if only sending money was taxed. I think we're still working with the 7-minute no tax on sending money to your ally. Clem gets a reactor, has a factory halfway done. Trigger starts his gateway research, and let's see what he does for Cybercore Tech. And Stargate for MaxPax does come out. Nobody was shocked. And a second gateway for Trigger. No Cybercore Tech just yet. Instead, focusing on that earlier natural. Getting some probes out. This probe doesn't really want to do anything. Oh, goes for a shoe battery. Wants to be safe against any type of Oracle play. I mean, it's still like a minute off before that could be a thing. But I guess Hellions could start running into his mineral line pretty soon. Or at least a Reaper. And it's a pretty committed or a cognizant choice from Trigger here to not make any units, not making any adepts. Just has this sentry. Oh, he does have a stalker somewhere, but it wasn't at home. MaxPax shirking around with this adept, gets found out by the Reaper, who is the one who knocks. We're gonna find out 2 adepts here from MaxPax, and they are hunting Hellion Reaper. Now that... Ooh! Oh, it gets the shot. Nice shot. Hugo. MaxPax does get the kill on that Reaper. And this Phoenix flies in, sees... What does it see?
I'm in a heap of trouble.
Oh, it did not see anything. Now... Oh. Sorry, it's a little finicky to use the camera here. Ooh, these Hellions did end up getting bruised. And one of them did die, but the Adepts for MaxPax did give their life for it. How many Oracles are there? Only 1 for MaxPax here. Did go back to put down some stasis wards. I was kind of expecting it to go across the map, but it did not go across the map. Trigger completely ready to not lose any probes to this Oracle. And at the back of that, we see the double Stargate coming out from MaxPax. Already has the 2 Phoenix ready to counter any opposing Phoenix. And MaxPax goes in for the SCVs once again. Does not like seeing those shield batteries, but does lose his Oracle against these double Viking, Marines, Cyclone, and Stalkers. They do not appreciate those Oracles. And the Oracle does go down. It gets a couple kills, but let's see what happened. 2 SEV kills for all of these units. I mean, I guess they also got a Hellion and a Reaper, but Trigger so far, playing a perfect game, hasn't lost a unit. Now 5 Phoenix meandering their way across the map. MaxPax might get a dive onto a singular Viking, but instead flies into a bunch of Stalkers. Does not see the extra Vikings just yet. And a 3rd CC for Spirit is going to fly over. 3rd CC for Clem about to finish. Trigger has a 3rd base, and a MaxPax about to have his 3rd base as well. So we see 3 Stargates now for MaxPax, just churning out the Phoenix. And we see +1 air being fired up as well for MaxPax. No, the Trigger hallucination is going to go across the map. Ooh, no 4th base for you, Mr. Trigger. Even popping the Guardian Shield to keep his units alive. Extra armor does pretty well against Phoenix. Now this probe is going to try and get a 4th base. No! Nope, denied. Good sir, denied. Just a big stamp on his forehead, denied. No 4th base for you. And that is kind of going to hamstring a Trigger a little bit here. It's pretty nice for Team Red to have the team that just is making a big ground army a little delayed on getting their 4th bases. They have a little bit more map control, although with the Phoenix, I guess Phoenix have the map control, what am I saying? But they mostly have map control through air superiority, and, well, Phoenix just can't lift buildings. Haven't researched that upgrade yet. Now, what is interesting is that Clem is getting a lot of Vikings here. We saw with Skillus and a laser against MaxPax Spirit that a laser managed to make a bunch of Corruptors, and that was actually enough to just completely waltz over the opponents, where Skillus made Stalker, Zealot, Colossi, and we do see the Robotic Support Bay coming up here for Trigger, so maybe they're going to do something similar, but with Vikings instead of Corruptors to deal with the almost imminent carrier threat. If we look at what Clem is doing, is he just making it happen? Yes, he is. Double armories coming up. And he has 2 factory, 1 starport. Just making Vikings and tanks. This is a pretty classic 2v2 comp as well. If you just have a lot of Phoenix and then some tanks, it's almost impossible to approach you by ground. And then you just make a Phoenix so that they also can't do it by air. And sometimes you scan their base to see if the Zerg is like 20 meters or something, but because Vikings aren't like amazing against that. Still, how many Phoenix are we up to? 19 Phoenix. The first Colossus is already on the map. So, a very different approach from Trigger and Clem, actually. In this game number 3 on Emerald City, they are being a lot more passive. I guess this is a pretty, like, big map. Emerald City. You have this shared natural once again, but then the 3rd bases are a little easier to take. And then 4th bases, and then you have a gold, and then you have 5th bases. And then you can even think about having a 6th base for 2 people. Like, usually we only talk about 4 bases for every person, and then the map is kind of saturated, or at least on Rohana, the last map that we saw. We talked about getting a 4th base, and then maybe a 5th, and then it's done. But here, we could talk about getting a 7th before you have to, like, steal bases from your opponent. Do you see a nice Tempest transition from MaxPax, which I do like to see before you fire up the carriers. You get a couple Tempest. They really help with the tanks and deal very well with the Colossi as well. Just nice poke damage. They're a little better in lower numbers. Like 1 or 2 carries doesn't do as much as like 1 or 2 Tempests. But like 5 carriers do a lot more than 5 Tempests. And transitioning out of your air army into, well, out of the Phoenix into the carriers can be a little bit delicate. Do see some Liberators coming out. All of the players just kind of gobbling up the map, trying to be as passive as possible, but not Trigger. Trigger's like, no, I have an army, I want to fight. But Clem playing the mech here. I would always almost love him to just send these Marines to go die somewhere. Just like move command them in and hold position them in the base or something. Because they're just clogging up his supply right now and they're not going to do much. We see some Thors coming out. Thors are pretty good against air. Especially with the high impact load. Do see Storm and DT Shrine coming out for Trigger. So he's getting all the Protoss. And a quadruple drop from Spirit gets into the main here of Clem. And that probably triggers Trigger to go into this golden base because they need to do some counter damage. Nice storms, but he's a little afraid. Oh, I think he could have crushed this. But now he goes back. Oh, maybe he just didn't have any detection, but he could have gotten a scan from Clem, but maybe just needed his APM somewhere else. But Trigger does decide to retreat. And now kind of being forced into a fight by these Tempest and the siege tanks behind. Even if he just blinks Stalkers here, maybe. Nah, probably not. Ooh, nice click on those High Templar. The War Prism goes down. A Colossus goes down. Like, Tempest destroy Colossus so hard. It's not even funny. 4 carriers are underway. A 5th Stargate and another Cybernetics Core. We even see +1 plasma shields for MaxPax here. So he's just building the Golden Armadas, losing some of his Phoenix, and he's probably okay with that. Kills another Colossus. Does see a lot of Vikings. Holy moly. 27 Vikings, baby. And they do have 1-1. That's pretty good. 2-2 for Spirit, though. Nice scan. Gets the 1 observer. Ooh, these tanks. Shell down a couple of those Zealots. And Clem and Trigger do have a little bit more map control, but there is another big drop from Spirit. Only 2 medevacs filled with bio right now, but remember, they have the 2-2. They can deal pretty well with these units from Trigger. Trigger has no armor upgrades, so these Marines actually melt them away like butter. And Clem does land his Vikings here, shoots down the Marines, and do stop Spirit from bleeding him out in the main base, but we need to get like 7 turrets up there ASAP. Only 2 turrets from Spirit. And oh, these Vikings, they need to get their shots off. The Tempest are shooting back as well. This is a big air range war. We see some storms going down from the High Templar. They are now dead, but I think they got a feedback on the mothership as well. Well, the mothership is dead at least. And these tanks, well, they can't shoot up. And we only have a couple Thors. The Thors don't seem to be interested. Oh, they are in AoE splash mode. Oh! I guess that's the right one, because they just did a lot of damage to that Viking clump of Spirit. And Spirit, I think, only has 3 starports. Okay, never mind. 3 starports is a good amount. He's making 6 air units at a time. Clem is making 7, though. And getting 2-2 as well. Ooh, more storms coming down. Stasis works on an Archon. I always forget if Stasis works on massive units. Well, it does. But it doesn't on Ultras, then. Ooh, another storm onto the Interceptors. Trigger trying to deal with these carriers by having Storm Archons. But I don't know how well it's doing. Maybe some massive run-bys will turn the tides, get some DT Zealot run-bys going on the top and the bottom side. Yes, he does have them going on the bottom side now, with the top side as well. He does have DT Blink as well. And the Stalkers fighting the Phoenix here. The carriers come in. They say, hello! And these tanks are like, oh, man. Oh, man. I can't do shit. Tanks in the back here are making sure that the tanks from Spirit can't take a position, though. And these Thors are doing God's work. Love to see just mass Thor Viking tank coming out from Clem. I guess that is what he's doing. And oh my god, the Vikings. You can't stand and fight the carriers. As soon as the interceptors are out, you have to run. You have to get away. And oh my god, the carriers just click down all of these tanks, and the tanks are so dead. We do see the DTs and the Zealots ransacking the gold base, but the gold base from Team Blue also down, and it's another nasty base race. Or can both teams restabilize and hold on? These DTs get into the third base of Spirit and take down more units. MaxPax, though, has these 8 carriers on the map. And they're all here with 5 Tempest as well. As long as the Interceptors are out, they can fight pretty well. Big blink in from Trigger there. Clicks with the Stalkers. Barely gets the carrier with some Viking shots to assist. And that is 5 carriers remaining. The mothership rejoins the fray. And we also have some High Templar following the Golden Armada around. And that is 3 bases completely cleaned up by Team Red. Team Blue did clean up about 1 base. And then like 1.5 bases. So not the worst trade. But if you look at Spirit Supply, it was a terrible trade. Oh my god. Spirit is so poor. Did he just lose? He lost 63 workers. Okay, that does explain a lot. Only has 25 SCVs right now. And is going to lose some more units to the Dark Templar. Can't use his orbital energy to mule because he needs to use it for continuous scans. And Spirit losing this gold base location seems to be a pretty big problem here for Team Red. MaxPax is huge. He's dominant, but he's not sharing any of his money with Spirit here. And Spirit probably not even asking for it. Just accepting that he's poor. Oh, Trigger gets another base here. Oh my god, so many Dark Templar, dude. Well, it's only 6, I guess. But still, 6 is quite expensive. And doesn't even click down the base. I'm a little surprised by that. But maybe he's just guessing that MaxPax is rich. Well, actually, he's suffering. Doesn't have that much mineral income, mostly. So these Interceptors are not cheap for him. Does maybe help him make some more High Templar. Well, he does have 6 already. Spirit is pushing forward here under the cloak of the mothership. The siege tanks do get taken down. One more Thor is here. He's trying to deal with this. Oh, Trigger comes in from the bottom, blinks into the Golden Armada and starts clicking down the air army, but a lot of units are already dying. Now the carriers try to retreat. Lots of storms here from MaxPax. The storms are just everywhere. And not even Archon morphing. MaxPax calls the GG. Both of the red players just don't have an economy to back up another army. And wow, Clem and Trigger actually play a slow game into an impending Doom Golden Armada army and manage to come out on top, bringing the series to a 1-2 in their favor, which means the Team Blue now on match point. And for game number 4, we load up into Reclamation LE with Trigger and Clem going back to Team Purple, whereas MaxPax and Spirit change colors again, now are red and blue. And with Clem and Trigger taking the lead in this series, how are MaxiPax and Spirit going to play against that? MaxPax and Spirit got to play a longer game. They got to play defensive. They got to get up to their Golden Armada. But it was not accepted. Wait, I think we've seen them play this map, or no? It just looks very similar to Emerald City because of this area. And this. But this, yeah, this is a different map. But my god, is it similar. Double gateway from Trigger once again. Now, this is match point, so the series could be over after this one, and before the action heats up, do consider subscribing to my channel, liking the video, if you want to see more StarCraft 2 or V2 action in the future. Thank you very much. So, Trigger with the double gate and MaxPax with the single gate expand. Once again, looks to be a core after Nexus this time around. So let's see what type of impact that has. Spirit also rapidly expanding, whereas Clem going for the double gas, gets this fast factory, then pulls his SUVs out of gas again to get the minerals. So he doesn't get any geyser from Trigger if they don't share a main. Am I seeing that correctly? Maybe it's just only certain builds if Clem wants to go for CC first type stuff, or like gasless expand. Pseudo gasless, I guess. Ooh, Spirit wants to go for early bunker, but this Reaper says no, kills that SCV dead in the face. And that was nice by Clem. Clem Reaper's always scary. Stargate coming out for MaxPax, so everything on the line. And he goes back for the Stargate build. MaxPax does have this Adept. He's making a Stalker here as well. Whereas double Reaper, double Adepts coming out. MaxPax sees them coming. But this bunker is not done. That first Reaper incursion was so important. Now we do see this Adept shading away and surviving. The SCVs actually get loaded up into the CC. This Adept surviving by the skin of its teeth. Well, the skin of its shield battery, more like it. Oh, these Marines almost line up for the Hellion, but do get some decent damage done. One Reaper gets into the main here. This Adept pair does die in the end. Wow, this shield battery from MaxPax doing God's work, and now a Clam Reaper in the main. That's never fun. But luckily, SCVs are beefy boys, and this Marine wants to shoot down that Reaper. Cyclone comes in and makes sure that Reaper doesn't get anything done. Now the Oracle's on the map. Trigger is a little trigger happy with the Adept Shades, and is now going to lose a bunch of his Adepts. Let's see, lost 4 Adepts there. And also a Hellion and a Reaper for a total of 3 SCVs, 3 Marines. So just 300 minerals in kills onto Spirit. And MaxiPax didn't lose a thing there. Dude, his control with that one Adept just baiting a lot of shots out of that Adept. Glorious. MaxPax goes for Stasis Ward into the main base of Trigger. Gets 1 probe and a little bit of mining time. Also gets the Scout here on the Twilight plus Forge. So they kind of know what Trigger's going to do. Nobody is surprised by that, but... Oh, nice job by Spirit. Gets a lock-on onto Clem Cyclone. Starts a 3rd CC at the back. And Spirit also starts his. Spirit takes a bunch of damage on his Cyclone. Trigger moving out aggressively with his Stalkers. Nice get off my lawn move. And a second Oracle from MaxPax. We haven't seen him do that at all. Is going into Blink behind it. And now the double Oracle movement. Sees 3 Stalkers. Kills 1 probe. Throws down the Revelation and gets out of there. I don't know if that's worth it, but... I mean, he could have potentially even gone down here or just through here. Just, like, do a flyby, get a couple probes. I know it's a little risky. Maybe you can ask for a scan from Spirit. But I feel like that 2 Oracle timing could have killed a couple more probes than it did. Does keep Trigger at home with the Stalkers, I suppose. But the Blink is about to finish. We see Blink coming in from MaxPax with the DTs and the 3rd base. So very similar build from MaxPax that he did on Rohana. Except for going for a double Oracle count. Let's see what he's going to do with this Dark Templar Shrine. Clem flies over his 3rd base, starts taking the gases right away, and adds on an extra factory, adds on an engineering bay. But double factory with these gases looks to be mech from Clem. So in game number 4, Clem is going to make mech it happen, as the Terrans say. Let's see. We see ground upgrades for MaxPax as well, so he is definitely committed on to doing ground stuff here. Goes to the low ground and tries to fight Trigger here. Maybe could have clicked down the shield battery instead. Can still try and take the high ground. Not going to make any more Star Wars jokes there. Or references. But he can kill a couple probes there. By just standing here. I feel like this base is so vulnerable because you can just walk up. You can kill the rocks and go as well. Ooh, one stasis ward does get seen by Trigger, and he blinks the one stalker forward. That shit seems so tiring to me, because you have to, like, watch like a hawk at your stalkers, your opponent's stalkers, and then blink, click one in, or click, blink, click one in. No smart casting in StarCraft 2. When you see that, like, little shimmer from the stasis ward, Cyclone gets a nice lock on, kills one of the stalkers from MaxPax, but MaxPax does go for a nice cheeky early 4th base. Trigger also getting a 4th base, but he gets it all on low ground, so he is going to be the low ground warrior here. And if he gets destroyed by an incursion from MaxPax and Spirit, if they get a couple tanks here and just leapfrog in before Clem is in position with his, it can go down south really fast, or just a tank up like here, 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 and then get him over here and here. Like, siege tanks really rule this map if you let your opponent get into position. This stasis ward does get taken down. These stalkers from Trigger, slightly out of position, get blunked on by MaxPax. Only loses a couple, but look at that. The siege tanks are in position, and the 4th base is just gonna die. Now, the siege tanks aren't in position anymore. The Clem does have one tank here, but the other one already died. 2 tanks are down. Nice Dorito cannon, lowering the armor of the units of MaxPax and Spirit. But do we have enough units on the ground from Clem and Trigger? Trigger bleeding out supply here. Losing the base, losing the probes, and losing a big chunk of his ground army. And in the meanwhile, probably DT sneaking around from MaxPax as well. Did finish it up, is going for DT blink as well. And wow, Trigger's getting just 2v1 banged by MaxPax and Spirit. Trigger's not happy with this. He did not give consent, and now Clem does come up with his siege tank count that seems to be superior, but once your opponents are in position, it's pretty rough. Nice vision, though. Spirit didn't have another scan, or didn't want to use it, and that is costing him. Because of that, Clem could siege in range of Spirit's tanks, and tanks have more range than they have sight. So if you don't have vision of the area, they, in theory, could shoot it, but they won't, because they can't see the opposing unit. Oh, but Trigger gets pounced on by Spirit's bio, and now MaxPax also blinks on top, but you see Clem just walling back and forth like a little ducky. They never killed the rocks either to help that army movement, to facilitate it. But you could just see that they didn't quite get to play the map the way they wanted to, and MaxPax and Spirit are abusing it to the max, and Spirit loves just loading up all of his units and boosting it up into the main. Boosts up more tanks as well, and now there's just a Doom army in the main of Trigger. He's moving his last units into the carnage, the death zone, the grinder that is Spirit's army. Now we do have a couple tanks trying to take a position, but Spirit is going to do so much damage. And at the back of that, we see even more Spirit units coming in. MaxPax, these stalkers, they don't want to jump into all of those tanks. Oh, even Liberators from Clem coming in, but this bio still doing damage. I mean, Trigger is just in the dumpster. 50 supply, and 45 of that are probes, so I guess at least he could try and recover economically. But the bio from Spirit, oh my god, it's only 1-1, but they just destroyed those Vikings and the units of Clem as well. MaxPax trying to find some more damage, but there is a good amount of tanks here from Clem still remaining. 13 tanks on the map from Clem. Lots of SCVs don't know what they need to do here. That is a little awkward. As soon as you siege tanks, they kind of like... They aren't quite buildings, but they block pathing, basically, and SCVs can't phase through them anymore. So in that sense, they are building-like. Oh my god, MaxPax sneaks in a Warp Prism and warps in a 1 death squad of units, gets on top of the production of the Terran player, and that signals the GG, or makes Team Purple GG out, because they know Trigger can't do anything. He's getting dropped with tanks, and in the meanwhile, also Clem is being dropped and him playing mech, making him so immobile And even though he had, well, he only had one more Viking, he had some Vikings at some point, wasn't able to stop these War Prisms from getting in. Wow, this Dark Templar also did some damage earlier. It's hard to catch everything in a 2v2. This looked pretty okay for Team Purple, but these bases on the low ground, they're pretty hard to hold, especially against an opponent who's aggressively sieging forward. And of course, at the back of that, MaxPax Spirit just taking all the bases and bringing this series to a wonderfully juicy 5th game. And welcome to an ever succulent game of StarCraft 2, a 2v2 in a grand finals. It's 2-2. So it's the final game here on a Crimson Research Lab, which is the one with the shared main, the shared natural, a pocket base with only one entrance to the natural, and then more bases down there before going into the low ground, which really gives you a lot of very difficult to defend bases. Let's see what Clem and Trigger are going to do here. Back to Team Blue. And MaxPax and Spirit are Team Red. And what I want to know... Oh, Clem. Getting told off by Trigger. He's like, no, I'm not going to build your geyser. Build your own goddamn geyser, bro. Clem going for the double here, the double. So I guess he's not going for that CC first. Maybe they only do it with the CC first. That's the only time they deem it worthy. Spirit, only one gas so far. Where's Clem going for the double gas? Gonna get that faster factory. And double gateway for Trigger once again. MaxPax is moving out with his probe. Gonna go get the scout. And of course, it's always those Protoss players that are scouting around with these nosy probes. They always have to stick their noses where they don't belong. So what are we going to see? We did see MaxPax go into that Stargate in the last game and then switch back to ground after making double Oracle, which I think was the best opener we've seen from him so far. It seems the most stable, but also the most potent. Whereas I feel like the one Oracle into Stargate Phoenix, yeah, it's strong, but on some maps it's stronger than others. I feel like on this map he would do it though, because I kind of remember him making a bunch of carriers on this map. He did do that versus Skilus and a laser, and they did fight, I think it was over here in their last finals. I don't remember if that was the final game, I just remember it was the thumbnail. And, ooh, MaxPax is going for Stargate, but we also get a Stargate from Trigger. Now that is something we don't see every day. I feel like this guy should just straight up fire into the Phoenix production and get that second Stargate running as well, because you know that MaxPax is going to make an Oracle. So if you go for Phoenix, you probably have 2 Phoenix when the Oracle arrives, so you just get the kill on the Oracle. I guess he can recall it, but you get... You kind of win there, because the Oracle has to be recalled back. The second time you find it, it dies. And then you have all the air superiority, and you have the lead in the Phoenix count. Oh, Trigger and Clem liked what they did in the previous game, and want to replicate it once again, are going to send in a bunch of units to try and get some damage done here at the natural. And is this again going to be the 4 adepts, or just the 2? Just the 2 of us. No. Oh, this is a bait. Trigger only sending out the 2 adepts. Last time 2 more came, but now they do not. So this is very nice. They did a build in game 4, and now in game 5 they show something similar, but it's not. Oh my god, I love that so much. And we see Phoenix being built here by Trigger. He gets a second Stargate. He already has 2 Phoenix, and an Oracle is about to run into this, and he's not going to be happy. Hello? Oh, shit. Oh, Nice reaction, though, by MaxPax. Does get his Oracle out of there. Doesn't even lose a lot of hull there. Not even any, or did he? No, he didn't lose any hull. Okay, that's very good. Now we see a second Stargate coming out for MaxPax. We are going to have a Phoenix versus Phoenix war. with Trigger and MaxPax. Now, I don't play a lot of PvP, but I know that it's very similar to Muta versus Muta. So if you have 1 or 2 Phoenix more, the fight is very one-sided. Oh, do the lift! Get the... Oh, now he goes for the lift. Gets the probe kill. Doesn't... Oh, loses a little bit of health. Loses 6 health on the Phoenix. So I think that's 1 Marine shot. Disgusting. 1 SCV does go down to the Stasis Ward, and now this Oracle has to fly away. It's only the 1 Oracle, and there is no recall, and the Phoenixes are moving in. This Oracle has been found out. Feels bad, man. Throws down a Revelation. Might try to go put down a Stasis Ward on the 3rd. No. Just goes in for more scouting information. And at the back of that, let's look at the Phoenix counts. 7-4. And we see a Fleet Beacon coming in pretty hot for both players here. Going for that Phoenix range. I don't see any upgrades just yet. And who gets a 3rd base first? It looks to be Trigger, who's thinking about that 3rd base a little earlier. Because he does have that lead. He didn't have to invest any money into the Oracle. And he could basically blind counter this strategy. Spirit flies over 3rd base. Clem has flown over his CC as well. I mean, you could just land it anyways, but I guess Spirit doesn't want to defend a base. He just wanted to see if he could land it, and if Clem and Trigger don't see it, they can't stop it, right? Oh, but there's even Vikings with the Phoenix here. We do have Cyclones and Marines stimming in, trying to get some damage here. Oh, but there is a tank here from Clem. And they are going to try and abuse the fact that they have more Phoenix on deck. 13 Phoenix. But MaxPax way more on point with the range. Oh, Trigger now only restarting the Fleet Beacon. I feel like he already started it, but maybe he cancelled it. Now we do see Anion Pulse Crystals, the Phoenix range almost done. As soon as that is done, you can infinitely kite your opposing Phoenix if you get the right micro. It's also pretty good against the Vikings. But these tanks are a pretty big problem. We need to see the best pre-splits of Spirit's life. Pull a couple SCVs and just go in as soon as you have to. Now the Fleet Beacon is almost done. We see the range is done for MaxPax. And boom, look at that. He has the range. And they are purple. That's way more beautiful. SCVs have been pulled. And he could even lift these tanks for a couple seconds if he wants to make sure that he can kill them. Spirit gets a nice pounce on top of all of these tanks. Nice job. If you lift them and then instant cancel, the move command of the siege tank is cancelled. So then Clem has to reissue the move command. And you can't like shift click move commands back home because it just cancels the entire queue. So with a nice Phoenix lift instant cancel, you can actually stop units from moving. It's not quite a stun, but it's definitely an interruption. And now, this is awkward. Trigger has more Phoenixes. But MaxPax has the range. We see no upgrades from either side, aside from the Phoenix range. But now Trigger is going into the +1 air as well. Both players have 3 Stargates. And what is Clem doing to support? He's going for that double fact Viking build once again that we saw on Emerald City as well. And I mean, it worked out. It looked pretty... Well, no. They won on Emerald City build. They lost on Reclamation. So let's see if this mech-focused build works out for Clem, because playing mech into bio can be a little tricky. Now we see motherships on both sides, and the carrier transition has started for Trigger. He has a few less Phoenix now. So if he starts fighting the Phoenix of his opponent, he's actually going to lose that fight. Where are the Phoenix of Trigger? They are back here, purely defensive now. And turrets are going to go down here from Clem. I like that a lot. Might actually get to see high-sec auto-tracking. Oh, Spirit gets in a Doom Drop with the cover of these Phoenix. And now, Clem, can you defend your base? A lot of SCVs went down. The Orbital went down. And you do have your Vikings, you have a couple siege tanks, but this pocket base has been annihilated by the army of Spirit and MaxPax. And now these Marines, they're pretty strong. Oh, you don't want to overstay. Oh, nice shots by the tanks. This looks a little dicey. Just a little awkward as well. No ground army for Trigger just yet. I don't know if he wants to show off the fact that he has a carrier. Now, the first carrier is coming up. It's not going to go into that scan range. Now, the other side, we still see Phoenix coming out and 2 more Stargates coming out for MaxPax. And he has way more Phoenix. Like, if you just have that much more Phoenix, you can actually kill your opponent before they have enough carriers to really shut you down. These Marines just stimming in for the win. They click down the mothership. There's only 2 carriers here. The Phoenix come in, and the siege tanks do anchor this fight now. The Marines can't really get in. We do need a scan every now and again. Nice clicks on the mothership again. Both sides lose their motherships. But we do see that the number of air units for Trigger have been greatly diminished. +1 is almost about to finish here from MaxPax, and this outer base from Trigger is about to get shut down. There were no tanks there to defend. And a lot of probes go down. Some of them do get away. These Vikings doing God's work. Clem, nice zoning with the Vikings. We see a click from Spirit that he wants to go somewhere else. Oh, 1 tank gets found. That is why you don't leave those tanks unattended, but that does open up the base to a ground assault if you are afraid of putting the tanks there. This looks very awkward. Oh no, Trigger, just click the siege tank already. And wow, MaxPax and Spirit are getting so much damage done. Them just being able to like maneuver around this area makes it really difficult for Trigger and Clem to defend all of their bases efficiently. And it was very rough that the turrets were not done at that pocket base at the start. Now we see a ping once again. And MaxPax is going there with the Phoenix, and now Spirit. Spirit might just run in. Oh, there is no turrets here. There's no AoE or anti-air. And the Vikings, they can shoot down a couple Phoenix, but that is a lot of SCVs done. Once again, Clem loses a lot of SCVs, and now a big move out from Spirit. Runs in, kills the tanks that were here, and now the carrier's not quite kiting back effectively. A couple of them do get clicked down, and the tanks here at the back do get the shots. We do have +1 for Clem on the tank arenas. But is this enough? Oh my god, 2-2 on those Marines makes them pretty efficient against the 2-1 interceptors now. And these, oh my god, these Phoenix are just reigning supreme. Look at the kill, 46, 64 SCVs have died. And I'm guessing that a lot of them died to Phoenix. And Clem gets in front of Trigger's base with the siege tanks, allows Trigger to retake this base, but as you can see, it's pretty difficult to expand on this map right now. Phoenix are just reigning supreme, just taking out all of the SCVs from Clem. And this is becoming a very dire situation. We do have a decent amount of carriers, but we see Tempest coming out for MaxPax as well. And as soon as those Tempests start hitting these carriers, oh my god, the Phoenix just run away. They kill some interceptors for free. And I mean, I guess the Vikings do kill them, but here is Spirit. It's not quite Johnny, but it's definitely Spirit, and he seems to be the one who knocks in this game. 90 Marines stim up a ramp into Trigger's third base, and there's just nothing to stop them. The siege tanks were unsieged, and now the third base just gets clicked down. The Tempest are here, and the blue team calls GG, meaning that the red team goes to a 3-2 situation, aka they win the goddamn finals. Once again, MaxPax and Spirit maintain their overlord status. They are victorious once again. They win the finals, and they defend their title successfully, kicking Clem and Trigger down into the curb once again. Come back next month, punk. Congratulations to MaxPax and Spirit. If anybody has any good nickname for their team, be sure to let us know in the comments. I was thinking something like the Phoenix Supplier or something like that. Like, you could probably just ask ChatGPT, like something with ashes, phoenixes, and supply chains or whatever, and just make a punny team name of 2 or 3 words, and then eventually you'll find something that's cool. You know, for Laser and Skillets, it's easy. They're the Liquid Boys. And for Clem and Trigger, I'm not sure. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this StarCraft 2 commentary on the February 2025 2v2 uThermal Circuit edition. And this was quite the slobber knocker once again. A Game 5 out of a finals between these two teams. Let's hope that in March we get another Runback, or maybe a new challenger awaits them in the finals. We'll have to wait and see, and I hope to see you then. Cheers. Be sure to like and subscribe.